My name is Brianna Williams, and you can call me Bree. You can call me Miss Bree, okay? That's absolutely fine. But I'm gonna share a little bit more about myself later on this morning. We're gonna check out some really cool videos, and hopefully you'll be inspired by listening to all of the amazing young leaders that work with the WEMovement that are just as amazing and as dynamic as all of you sitting in here. But to kick it off, I want to show you a quick video of WEDay. How many of you went to WEDay? Who went? Okay, y'all were at the Barclays Center. Okay, well, then some of this may look familiar and it might remind you of the experience you had at the WEDay in New York. All right, so check this video out.
Born out of a dream, two brothers, fueled by the desire for change, by the hope that the world can be a better place. They called it WEDay.
More than an event, it launches a year of actions for social change.
You can't buy a ticket to WEDay.
You earn it through service.
Tens of thousands in attendance.
Hundreds of thousands watching online.
Millions watching on TV.
WEDay is the movement of our time.
The WEMovement helps to support your passion for a better world.
Time to stop complaining that there's nothing to be done and instead actively take steps truly living we.
You're the generation that's going to run the world.
Together, we can truly live we.
For everything that divides us, there is so much more that unites. Believe in the power of we.
I stand here in front of you as living proof that we can redefine what is possible.
I tried to change who I am, and I realized I don't know how to be anything but myself.
I know we all have some weaknesses, but it does not mean that we don't deserve to be special.
I was born with one finger on my left hand and a lower leg that was curved in, and this hasn't slowed me down at all.
WEDay is all of you, the few, the dedicated, coming together to change this world. Tonight, we are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter.
Some people don't think it's cool to help others. Personally, I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Are you ready, WEDay?
If anyone's gonna change the world, it's gonna be you!
WEDay was phenomenal. I've never experienced anything like this before.
WEDay has changed my life. I'm so impacted. I can't even describe to you. I'm so excited to get started.
Are you ready to change the world?
You guys are awesome, WEDay.
Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete, proving nature's laws wrong and learned to walk without having feet? Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared. Tupac Amaru Shakur. So when I first came across this poem here, well, this piece of a poem, I was inspired by just the story of this rose, this little bitty flower that was able to grow through something that was hard and something that was difficult. And I enjoyed it. Tupac is one of my favorite rappers. And so reading this poem, I felt a type of connection that I hadn't experienced before when listening to his music. And I was inspired by that poem. But now that I work with the WE organization and we have this lovely tagline here that says, "We makes doing good doable," I think about that poem in a different way. And we're able to do this thing of doing good, giving back to your community something that's doable by working with all of you, by partnering with young people. Because you all have your own talents, your own skills, your own passions, that when we combine all of those together, we make a real and genuine change in our communities. And so when I think about that poem now, and I think about the young people that I have the privilege to work with, I have a few reminders that, like that rose, the young people I work with, they defy the odds. Yeah. And then I realized that the young people that I have the pleasure to work with keep your dreams. And like that rose, you're growing and you're growing to change the world. As I already shared, my name is Brianna Williams. You can call me Bree. You can call me Miss Bree. You see the hashtag up there? The hashtag Bree from We? Do you see it? I'm not people like agreeing. Yeah. Okay, so you see it. Okay, I need you to remember it. I need you to say it. I think that it works well with the branding. I'm trying to get my own little Bree from We t-shirt. So if someone says, who came to your school the other day? Who's talking to you? You can say, oh, that was Bree from We. You better hashtag it, okay? I'm trying to get it trending. I'm just saying, put it out there. I'm gonna check later. I'm gonna check the public post and see if y'all did it. Not during school though. After school, when you can use your phone. Okay? Now, all that you know is that my name is Bree and I'm from We. That's it. But maybe you can tell that I'm not from Jersey based on my accent. Did y'all pick up on that? Where do you think I'm from? Somebody said New York? Who said Texas? You're right, I am from Texas. I am, yes. I didn't get it. He was like, I was just guessing. I'm not a real cowgirl. Like, I don't wear cowgirl boots and I do not own a cowgirl hat. But I am from Texas. Don't tell them that I don't own that because I don't want them to, take my Texan card. But yes, I'm from Texas. So when I talk to you this morning, you might hear me say things like fixing to. That's not correct. Don't say that in class, okay? But you might hear me say fixing to, and you might hear that Texas twang as I talk. And if I say something, you're like, Miss Bree, I don't know what I'm going to say y'all a lot. You're like, Miss Bree, I don't know what you're talking about. Just raise your hand and say that again, lady. I don't understand. Somebody said New York, and that makes me feel like, okay, that accent is going. No, but I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my state. I love where I live because I love the people that I work with and the people that I live around. But what I love more than just working with young people in my home state is being able to travel and work with young people just across our country. And being able to travel and work with young people in different countries. And I'm able to do that in part by working with some of our sponsors. And so we work with Virgin Atlantic. They're big business, okay? And because we work with this organization, with this business, I get to go around and meet different young people. They actually sponsor this tour for me to go talk about creating change in the community. So I think I have a pretty cool job. I love it. I enjoy what I do every day. And I like to give them a little shout out and say thank you. Thank you so much. I can't really afford your flights, but thank you so much. But more than just thanking the business that we partner with, I have to give some thank yous to some of our leaders here. Where's Miss Evaristo? Because I haven't met her yet. Is she in here? Is this Miss Evaristo? We've got to give her a shout out, give her a hand, give her a clap. Thank you so much for welcoming me to your school. I can tell you that when I travel to so many different schools, I meet a lot of different people. And sometimes I can go to schools and it seems like they didn't really want me there. I'm like, did y'all know I was coming? But this school, Jerome Dunn Academy, you knew that I was coming today. Because from the time I entered, people were smiling at me. Anyone that I saw, that I made eye contact with, people said, good morning. I met amazing leaders at your school. And that tells me a lot about your school's culture. What it tells me is that you're welcoming, you're receptive to people that aren't from your community. And it lets me know that you have a culture here that is excited about change and excited about giving back. And then I heard your school pledge this morning. And I was impacted when it made a big impact on me this morning, listening to the pledge and listening to the words that you're going to abide by. And then hearing that you're working on community projects, even before you got with the We organization. So that says a lot. Give yourselves a hand because you're change makers. It's okay to clap for yourself sometimes. It's okay to clap for yourself. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And knowing that I am in a place with active young people with a culture that embraces people that are different or that are not from your community, it lets me know that you might say yes to this type of question. This question up here around justice, and if justice is even worth it. See, I hear that question all the time. I've been doing this work that has to deal with, trying to change the world for about 10 years now. About 10 years. And in my time, I've noticed that there are a lot of people, sometimes young people, but oftentimes grown-ups, that say, no, it's just not worth it. It's pointless. Why? What is the point of fighting for a more equitable and just society? What's the point of giving back? My brother is one of the many people that I look up to. He's a role model for me. But oftentimes we disagree on this. We disagree on this question because he says, you know what, the world is the way it is. And we've just kind of, roll with it and do what we can to make it through each day. And I'm like, okay, but where's the excitement around doing good? He's like, look, Brianna, you can't change people's opinions. As I said, the world is the way it is. Hey, we're just gonna have to deal with it. But I don't agree with that. I think justice is worth it. And I think that doing everything that you can each day to make this place a little bit better is definitely worth the fight. So ask yourself this question, is justice worth it? Check out this next video and ask yourself that question and answer it silently.
A lot of people see justice as the most futile thing you can do with your life. Give your life completely to business and you see the money piling up. Be a health nut, eat right, go to the gym, and your muscles will grow and your body will look good and you'll see results. But when it comes to justice, it seems like you just can't get ahead. You patch up one hole and something else rips open. You bring peace to one region and war breaks out in another. You rebuild after an earthquake and a tsunami hits. And you work and you work and you work and there's never any profit. There's no bank where you can store a surplus amount of justice in. Stability is never permanent. Something always tips and people always ask, is it even worth it? And that question, though understandable, quite frankly, it's ridiculous. And it rarely comes from those who are actually tired from pursuing justice and not just tired of the idea. It rarely comes from people who've labored for years and have good reason to ask it. And you know why they never ask? Those type of people become friends with those who suffered. Family even. Because it's one thing to wonder if someone else's freedom is worth fighting for. But when you begin to identify with that someone else, commune with them, that's when the question is no longer worth asking. That's when it becomes offensive even. What do you mean, is it worth my time? That doesn't even deserve an answer. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how many times we fail. I don't care how little progress is made. You never stop fighting for your own.
So when I have those days where it's a rough day or it's a hard day or things didn't go as planned, I can watch videos like that. I can listen to spoken word pieces like that one and kind of become recharged. And I say, yes, justice is worth it. And a lot of young people say, yes, justice is worth it. And you're saying it in your actions. You're saying it by taking part in community projects, by protesting, not just in person, but also online. I've seen young people use social media to spread awareness about different movements and different issues. So yes, we have young people that are on the front lines, but young people are using, I don't know, what do you use? Your Snapchat, you're on IG. I know you're not using Facebook, because I know you're not on that, yeah. But you're using any platform you can that's hot and popular at the time to spread positive messages and positive images. And instead of having to go door to door to spread the word about the change you're creating, you're able to do that online. And what I'm seeing are more and more young people standing up to adults and saying, you know what you're doing isn't right. And I'm seeing more and more young people stand up against policies and against laws that they think are unfair and unjust. And I'm seeing young people be the ones that are not just fighting for human rights or fighting for rights of all people, but also fighting for our environment and doing all that they can to protect the animals and protect every living thing that's in this world. So young people are saying, yes, justice is worth it. You're active citizens. And being an active citizen simply means you are someone who's engaged in your local community. That's pretty easy to do. Okay, just by a show of hands, how many of you have ever participated in a fundraiser? You've done, oh, look at, see, what? Okay, have you ever donated, food? Have you ever donated clothes, shoes? Okay, anyone in here ever helped someone study? You ever tutored someone? Been a helper for your teacher? Okay, anyone in here in any clubs in school? Like you're a part of a sports team. Maybe you're in a club. Maybe you're in student council. Maybe you're a volunteer. Okay, look at you. You're active citizens. You're leaders. You're engaged. And it may sound a little corny, but that gets me excited. That lets me know that I am amongst the leaders that are change makers. So what we're going to do for the rest of the time that we're together, I'm going to share a little bit about some other young change makers, and we're going to explore a few areas of leadership, a few different styles of leadership. And one of the qualities that leaders have is the ability to be resilient. Now, there's a definition up there that says resilient, able to withstand and recover quickly from difficult conditions. That simply means y'all know how to bounce back. Yeah, that bounce back. Though something bad happens, like, oh, I failed that test. But this week, boom, you bounced back and you passed it. Maybe you had a really bad day at home, but you had a great day at school. Boom, you bounced back. Resilience, you are a resilient generation. Because some of you in here, although I don't know you, we just met, some of you in here have lived through some experiences that were tough. Does that apply to anyone in here? You've lived through something that was tough? You had something unfair happen in your life? Maybe something unplanned? Okay, next question. Are you still here? Let me pinch myself. You're here? Yeah. You're here. You made it through. You're resilient young people. I still see smiles on faces. And I still receive that warm welcome, even though I know that most of the people in here have had something unplanned or unfair happen in their lives. And that tells me a lot about you. But what we're going to do, as I said earlier, we're going to go through a few different styles of leadership. Now, these leadership styles are not the only ways to be a leader, but I want you to listen to the stories about some of these students that we're going to view on the screen. And think if you relate to any of these young people. And think of any of their styles, any of their skills, sound like skills in the style that you have. Okay, so you ready to start with the first one? Yes? Yeah? All right, let's go. So in this first scenario, I need you to put on your acting hat. Okay, put your acting hat on. And I need you to imagine that you're 4 years old. Going back in time. But it's not nap time, okay? 4 years old, and you are one of 6 children. One of 6 children, and you are growing up in a small town called Meridki. And this town is located in Pakistan, okay? And it just so happens that you and your siblings were born into poverty. You started out life living in poverty. And you have 2 parents that work really hard to take care of you and your siblings. You see your mother put in hours each day working at a nearby kiln factory. And you see her work tirelessly. And your parents are working to create a better life for you than the one that they were born into. Now, although they work hard and they work every day, your family has managed to go into debt. And your family is in debt of $12. And $12 may not sound like a lot of money to pay back, but if you are living off of less than $1 a day, paying back $12 can seem pretty impossible. But here's the silver lining. One day, 2 men come to your town, and they say that they have an amazing opportunity for the young people in your community. And they're going around in each house, and they come to your house, and they tell your parents, if you let your child enter our program, your child will receive a free education. And that sounds pretty good to your parents, because public education in your town costs money. It's not free. So they think, okay, free education, what else? And they say, you know what? We're going to teach your kids some skills that they can use later on in life to maybe help them get a job. Matter of fact, your kids will come home on the weekend, they'll stay here during the week, we'll feed them, we'll clothe them. It's almost like a boarding school. Your parents are thinking, wow, this really does. This sounds like a great opportunity. And then they say, by letting your child get into this program, we are going to take away your family's debt. We're going to pay that off for you. And they present your parents with a contract, and they say everything that we've explained to you is written here in this contract. Read it and sign it, and this is your child's ticket into a better life. Now here's the thing, your parents are illiterate. What does it mean if you are illiterate? What does that mean? Young lady in the back with glasses, yes, you. You can't read. Can you write? No? And if you can read some words, can you comprehend what you've read? No. So your parents trusted what these 2 men said. Instead of signing the contract, they used their thumbprint, and like that, you're taken away. But you're not taken to a school, there's no educational program. You're taken to a carpet factory, where you become a child laborer for the next 6 years of your life. And as a child laborer, your job is to work to make carpets. And you do this about 10 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. And there are other children alongside of you, and this is your job. And if you make a mistake, they withhold food from you. If you make a mistake, they withhold water. Now 6 years go by, and at the age of 10, you're rescued by a human rights organization. You and a few other young people. And you return home to your family. And when you return home, you learn to read and you learn to write. And you recognize that you have this fire inside of you to do something. Because see, you still remember those experiences that you had in that carpet factory, and you know there are other children that are suffering. Now, what would you decide to do? Would you decide to speak out, and go around and give speeches, spreading awareness about the issue of child labor? Or would you choose the second option? Would you volunteer to go on a rescue mission? Because you know there are other young people that are still trapped in these factories, and you're going to go help save them. With your newfound skills, would you choose to teach the community how to read and write? Because you know that those are very important skills and the foundation of an education. Or would you choose the fourth option? Because of the way the debt system is set up in your town, you decide you're going to create some projects to change the way the debt system is for your community. Which would you choose to do? Hold up your fingers to show me. Hold up one if you choose one. If you choose 2, 3, 4, there's no 5 or 6. Okay, 1. Okay, I see a few 1s. I see some 2s. Okay, all of you that are 2s, I need your information because I need y'all to have my back. Whenever I need you to come get me, I need your info. Okay. If you chose option 1, you have something in common with Iqbal Masih. At the age of 4, Iqbal became a child laborer, and as I shared with his story, he worked as a child laborer for 6 years. At the age of 10, rescued by the Human Rights Organization, and he chose to not only learn how to read and write, but to use his voice and share his story. So he went around quite like I'm doing, and he's talked about the issues and the tragedies that he and other young people experience. And there's something about your own story that makes it so powerful that when you say it, it doesn't matter if someone says, no, that's not true. You know it's true because you lived that experience. And for those next 2 years of Iqbal's life, he became quite powerful. He became quite powerful. Every time he spoke, carpet sales went down. And he spoke to adults and he spoke to really influential, and powerful people that said, oh, you know what, I don't want to be associated with that factory. And they started to pull their support. Iqbal is what we call a rebel leader. See, the rebel leader is the one that says, I don't care if everybody is saying this is what we should do. The rebel leader says, you know what, that's not right. And the rebel uses their outspokenness and their bravery and their excitement and their voice to create change in a positive and in a good way. Is there anyone in here that has a little rebel in you? You don't mind being the person that like stands up for other people, or you'll say, nope, that's not right, and I'm gonna call you out on it. Okay, we got an educator here that's a rebel. Look, some of the other educators look like, that's them. Every meeting they've got something to say. Okay, so we've got some rebels in this building. Think about how you can use those rebel skills to positively impact your school, your local community, and the world. All right? Okay, you ready to roll on to the next one? You ready? Yes, okay. The next scenario, I want you to imagine that you're in school. Can you do that? You should. Thank you. All right. She's like, yeah, we're here. You should. In case you didn't know, we are in school. Okay, so imagine that you're in school. And I want you to kind of think back to being like little bitty. Let's pretend you're in third or fourth grade. How about that? And let's also pretend that you love reading. You love it. Somebody in the front was like, huh? Nope. We're pretending. The acting hat on. Okay, so you're in elementary school. You absolutely love reading. Every time your teacher hands you a book, you're like, ooh, I like that, give me another one. And your teacher's like, oh, here's another book. And you smash that, and you're like, I finished that one, love it, give me something else. And your teacher keeps handing you all these reading assignments, and you love it, love it, love it. But then you notice something. You notice that all of the books that you read in class have characters that don't look like you. You notice that there are no lead characters in your books or in the stories you talk about in class that reflect you. And you know there have got to be books that we could read in school that have people that look like you in them, because you've got books like that at home. And you've decided, you know what, I'm going to take action on this issue, and I'm going to do something. So what would you all choose? Would you choose option number one? Would you create a petition? And you're going to go around, maybe it's an online petition, and you're going to get people to sign this petition agreeing that you want to see a change in the books that you're reading in school? Or would you choose the second option? Because you have so many books at home, you're going to bring your books with you and read to the little ones, the little babies. You're going to volunteer to do that. Or maybe the third option, you are going to get with the different educators in the administration to come up with a new curriculum. Yeah, you're going to create some new lesson plans that include the books that you want to see. Or you're going to choose option number 4, and you're going to host a book drive and collect as many books as possible that have characters that look like you in them. What would you choose? Option 1, 2, 3, or 4? Let's see. I see, oh, here are my 2s again. I see some 3s. Okay, 3s in the back, 3, 2s. I see some 1s. Oh, I see a 4 right there in the middle. Well, if you chose option 4, you have something in common with this amazing leader, Marley Dias. Marley started a book drive, a virtual book drive with the hashtag 1,000 Black Girl Books. And when I first heard about this movement, I was like, when adults started this, it seems pretty cool. And then I came to find out, whoa, this was started by someone that's 12 years old? Interesting. Check out Marley's story.
This big campaign and how it started. So the 1,000 Black Girl Books campaign is a social media campaign started by me in November of 2015. So in my 5th grade class, I wasn't seeing Black girl stories being reflected, and it wasn't something that we were told, but I could see that story in my home and in the books that my parents gave me. I knew that like kids at my school, they might not always be able to see themselves as characters that are important and things that are valued in their school system. So I decided to collect 1,000 books where Black girls are the main characters, and I was able to collect to date 9,500 books.
But Marley is a designer, and what she did was she designed this creative book drive virtually to get people all across the country, or even people from different countries, to donate books and to suggest different book titles. And her goal was just to collect 1,000 books. And she ended up collecting a little over 9,000 books. And so, seeing her use her passion for reading and pairing it with an issue, with a gap that she saw at school, Marley was able to create some major change. Major change. She ended up traveling to Jamaica and gave out books there. She also, since this time, she's continued to collect more books. Marley has her own nonprofit organization now. And guess where Marley is from? Yes. Nope. Jersey. She's from Jersey. She started this project, she started in 5th grade, and 6th grade it really took off. Now Marley is in her 9th grade year. And this project has continued to grow. So you can actually visit her resource guide, and now it's expanded beyond books about Black girls, and she has so many different books to choose from where different people of color are the lead characters. And there's something beautiful about designers, because they'll see that there's a need, and they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna create something new to address that. So if you're creative, anyone in here really creative? You come up with really cool projects, really cool, maybe you're good, you're creative in a way of writing, or with drawing, or with coming up with a solution to a problem. Okay, all of these creatives that are in here. Think about your creativity. Think about your skills. What type of project could you start that's fun and that's new and that hasn't been done before? Think about that. Now this next young person, I'm not going to tell a lot about his story because I'm going to let him share his story with you all, but I will say that it is a story about gun violence and how he and his fellow classmates and his teachers reacted to an issue that they experienced relating to gun violence.
I feel like I'm a kid and I shouldn't worry about losing my life every day, but I do. I don't think a kid should have to go through that. I want to make a change somehow, some way.
We did have a student to experience gun violence, and it was a tragic situation. It was a hard time for our students, and it was a hard time for our school, and it really, really pumped them up to really want to create change. They really wanted to do multiple events centered around peace, and they started planning. I told them whatever they needed, I would help them, and that's how we came up with Dreams of Peace Week.
We lost a friend. So, like, at that moment to us, peace was the most important issue.
WeSchools has helped us tremendously. They have further extended that positivity within our school, further extended that peace and unity within our school, further extended the hope in their ability to create change. And that's what's most important. I feel that students need that hope, they need that positivity, and they need to know that there are opportunities that are endless. The sky's the limit for them.
In the beginning, I didn't really think I could get people to listen to me. As student council progressed and we did the several campaigns that we did, more things to create change, I grew into the position. Now people always come up to me. I'm proud of that.
Aeneas is an organizer. And an organizer has the ability to work with different people to put on a project or a campaign or to start a business. An organizer is the kind of leader that doesn't have to be in the front, getting all of the limelight. An organizer knows how to lead from anywhere and pull on different people's abilities and skills in order to accomplish their goal or to accomplish their task. And organizers tend to be really detailed. They tend to be the kind of leaders that can make friends wherever they go because they love meeting different people and interacting with different people. And organizers know who to partner with. So Ignatius, yes, he's the president of student council, but although he's the president, people weren't really listening to him at first. But he had to keep working on more projects with the help of the other members to get this off the ground. And he had a really great ally. One of your greatest allies are your leaders in this school, your teachers. Look around, where are they? Wave to your allies, wave to your teachers. Listen to them, they kind of know a little bit of a lot. Okay? No, they don't. They know a lot. They know a lot. Not kind of a little bit. They know what they're talking about. So figure out how you can use your organization skills. Some of you that are really detailed, some of you that love putting together projects so they can work well with different groups. Think about how you can partner with your leaders here in the school to create the type of change that you want to see. Okay? All right, this next leader, and it's the last young person that I'm going to profile. Let me go back. Oops, too far. This leader right here, Quinn Smith-Windsor, is what I like to call a WE champion. She's a WE champion. Now, Quinn, I was able to meet her, not last summer, but the summer before the last one. And Quinn created change, not just, while being part of the WE program and in her community, but she created a campaign that made an impact in people's lives in a completely different country. So age 11, Quinn came to our camp, one of our Take Action camps. It's a social justice camp mixed with sleepover camp. We put those together and you get people that stay up all night and talk about how they're going to change the world and create individual projects, okay? Well, she came to this camp at 11 years old and she learned about different women and girls in Kenya whose job it is to collect water. And she learned that these women and girls in Kenya were walking about 80,000 steps a day to get to clean water. Because there's no running water in their village. There's no well in their village. So they've got to walk. They've got to walk to get this. And I think about all the things we use water for. What do we use water for throughout the day? What do we use it for? Showers. Tell me something else. Say it again. Drinking water. Wash dishes, wash your hands. Sometimes what? To eat, yes. So you're using water to cook with, to clean with, to wash your hair, wash your hands, wash clothes. You use a lot of water throughout the day. So imagine if instead of being able to walk to the kitchen and turn on the faucet, you had to walk miles to go get your water. And if they're walking 80,000 steps a day, and the women and the girls are doing this, it sometimes takes them about 6 hours out of the day because they're going back and forth to get water. And if you've got a large family, you need more water, right? So they're spending this much time getting water. If you're spending 6 hours a day just walking to get a basic necessity, what are you not doing? As a kid, as a girl. What'd you say? You said having fun. Where are you not? What are you not attending if you spend 6 hours each day? School. You're not in school. And Quinn is very passionate about education, so when she learned that it was the job of the girls to go get water and they were missing school and not receiving an education, she thought, you know what, I've got to do something about this. And Quinn also learned that it takes about $5,000 to put one well in a village. And she didn't have $5,000. But with her water walk campaign, every time she took a few steps, she took a picture of herself, she videoed herself, she put it online, and she asked people to pledge money. And her goal was to walk 80,000 steps, and her goal was to raise at least $5,000 to donate. And I don't know if you've noticed, but Quinn is a chair user. Quinn was born with cerebral palsy, and she has been a chair user her entire life. And she was able to walk with like assistive crutches. But her mom describes her walking campaign as one that was beautifully painful because it took a lot of her physical energy to walk 80,000 steps. I think about when I walk 10,000 steps in a day, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And she put her body through the ringer to walk 80,000 steps. Now she ended up hitting her goal of raising $5,000, and she actually exceeded that goal. And she ended up raising a little over $10,000. And when I got to meet Quinn, after hearing her story over and over, I was like, wow, it's just been amazing listening to the heart that you have for other people you've never met. And so I was working with her on her project for the next year, and I asked her, so what's your plan? How much are you going to raise next year? You raised $10,000. Do we want to bump it up to 12? And Quinn told me no. She said, I want to raise $30,000 because I want to keep putting wells in different communities. And since that time, she's been able to travel to the community where she helped raise money to put the 2 wells in. And just her passion and her fire has continued to burn. Quinn is a giver. And givers are often the people, they are so generous. They will give all of themselves. Givers take care of everyone and forget to take care of themselves. A giver's the kind of person, if they had $5 and you needed $4, they're like, here you go, keep the change. Anyone in here really generous like that? You're a great helper. When you give of yourself, you put in 100%. Sometimes we've got to remind givers to take care of themselves. We're like, I need you to sit down. You've done a lot. Sit down. Okay, a few givers again. All right. Again, I encourage you, think about how you can use those skills of wanting to care for other people and wanting to be, and if you are a rebel or a designer or a giver or an organizer, how can you use those skills? And you know what? Sometimes you might be a combination of all of these different leadership styles, and that's fine. Or maybe you didn't see your leadership style reflected up here today. That's okay. You have gifts, you have talents, you have passion, you have skills that are amazing and that's worth the world being exposed to. So think about that. Think about how you want to create change. And the last story that I have to tell you, I want you to imagine that these statistics that you're going to see on the board describe your community. And I want you to pretend that these stats relate to you. And they describe you, your family members, and your friends. Okay? 13.5% in poor health. 20% of the people in your community, the people in your group, are more likely to experience a serious mental health crisis. A little over 50% of the people in your group aren't active, like they're not physically active. And then, about 56% are classified as overweight or obese. Now imagine all of these stats relate to your community, okay? And think about what you would do to address those issues. And while you're thinking about that, I should tell you that all of those stats relate to the community that I belong to, adult African American women. And being that I've been a black woman my whole life. So I know these stats, but because of my experience, I also know that there is more to the story than just that statistic. And because I love to research, I love to read. I'm a researcher, and I'm a social worker by trade. And I know that there are more things to my community and my group than just these stats that are up there. I know the strength that we have when it comes to making change by way of voting. I know that we're homeowners. I know that we're becoming more and more educated when it comes to attaining higher education. I know these great things, but I also know that I've got to do what I can to be here a little bit longer and make the place that I inhabit a little bit nicer. And this latest journey that I'm on started with a trip to Denver, Colorado. Now I know that you all heard me say that I'm from Texas. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Texas. I live in North Texas. I kind of lived all throughout the state. And there's one thing that we don't have, and that's snow-capped mountains. We don't have that. We've got a lot of hills. We've got some plains. We've got some prairies. I've actually seen a tumbleweed in real life. You know when you see the big ball of hay that kind of just keeps rolling, like on TV? Yeah, I was driving one day and I was like, is that a tumbleweed across the highway? Where do they do that? I guess here, okay. So this scenery right here, when I first made it into Denver, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. And I went on this trip because I have a really good friend that's an organizer. He is like the annoying organizer. He plans out everything. And he planned our itinerary for this trip to Denver. And he rented a house for all of our friends, paid for all of the transportation. And I'm like, hey, I like your organizing skills, thank you. So we go on this trip and my thoughts, and oh, by the way, my best friend, her name is also Bree, she came along for this trip. So I'm like, this is gonna be fun. I get to look at pretty mountains. I'm gonna have some post-worthy photos. I was working on my angles. I was working on them. I had my camera ready. And something else happened. There we go. Someone decided that we weren't just gonna look at the mountains. Someone came up with the bright idea that we should hike up the mountain and take a walk on the trail. And I was like, it's not why I came. I came here to take pictures and to smile and to go to sleep, and that was it. But the entire group, we went to this area called Lookout Mountain, but the entire group, they were like, yeah, that sounds like fun. And I'm like, okay. And to be quite honest, it was more, I was more resistant because I was thinking, I'm not gonna be able to hike. I don't hike, that's not me. But I went anyway. So here we are, we're on this trail. I'm like, okay, I'm keeping up with the group. This is cool. By the way, I was not dressed for a hike. I had on the cute boots, not hiking boots. I had on jeans, had on a too little shirt, okay? I was not prepared to go hiking, but we went anyway. So I'm going, and I'm breathing hard. I'm like, okay, that's okay. And then I thought, okay, as long as I can see the group, if I can just stay with the group, it's all right that I'm in the back. That's cool. I just want to still be able to hang with the group. And as I'm walking, I'm like, man, this is a mountain. And then the person that suggested we go on this hike was like, Brianna, it's a light hill. It's like a baby hill. And I'm like, okay, well, this baby mountain is something. And then I said to myself, you know what? Just speak life into what you're doing. It's okay. And I thought, you got it, girl. You're going. You're doing something new. It's good. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And then my thoughts were stopped. And I was stopped in my tracks by a very rude comment that someone, who I thought was a friend, made to me. And that person said, hey, yo, Bree, you know it'll be really funny if you get all your big girls together and y'all come out here and come hike. That'd be so funny. Matter of fact, then he starts laughing. He's like, I would pay to see it. I would pay money to see that. It'd be hilarious. And I told you my best friend was there. And best friend knows me. And best friend is giving me that look of, don't do it. Don't go off on it. Please don't. We're grown-ups now. Don't do it. She's giving me that look, and I'm looking at her like, oh, you know I'm about to go off. But instead I gave him, this mean look. And it was really a front. I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. I was putting up a front because my feelings were hurt. Because in that moment, it was like I was transported back to middle school. It was like with that comment that he made, it felt like I was back in that situation of dealing with bullying. Because my middle school years were years that I used to look at as my worst years in school. I look at it now as they were just really tough years. I saw my grades slip. I dealt with bullying every day. I began to hate school. The bullying was always around my appearance or around my voice, like how deep my voice is, how loud my voice is, my size, how big I am. And hearing someone that's supposed to be a friend say something quite rude made me feel like we were back in that situation, and he was being the bully and I was being, playing that role of victim. But instead, my adrenaline was pumping, and instead of going off on him or staying in that space, I ended up finishing the trail in front of everybody, and I make it to the top. And the first thing I did when I get to the top was I caught my breath, and I'm looking back and I'm like, okay, they're all coming. I can't believe I made it up here. But after I raised my head and I looked around, the wind was whipping in my hair, and I experienced the kind of peace I'd never felt before. And my love for the outdoors was birthed, and I was so proud that I was able to do something that initially I thought I couldn't, or that somebody thought was quite funny for me to do. And then, a month later, while at home, I asked my mentor, that's one of my mentors, her name is Dr. G, and I said, Dr. G, can I go on a trail walk with you? Can I go on a hike with you? She was like, what? You want to go on a hike with me? I'm like, yeah. So get this, Dr. G has been my mentor for quite a while. And she's been trying to get me to go hiking for 4 years. And I always told her no. Because I was like, Dr. G, there's a few things. First of all, I don't see black people hiking. We don't do that. And then I used to tell her, big people don't hike. And I'm black and big. That's just not happening. That's a double whammy. I'm not doing it. And she was like, what's wrong with you? Are you really my mentee? And you're saying this about yourself? And I was just like, it's just not my thing. I don't have the ability to be a hiker. So when I told her that I wanted to go, she was like, So what happened? I'm like, I was with my friends, and my friends had influenced me to go hike. She's like, oh, okay, so I, as your role model, have been telling you, but it took your friends to convince you to go, right? I'm like, And she was okay, she forgave me. See, that kind of goes back to that thing of sometimes teachers, mentors, your role models tell you good things, and they're giving you advice, and you're like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You were never my age. And then sometimes it takes your friends influencing your behavior. Well, that's what happened. And after I went hiking with her, my love for the outdoors was further, it just spread. I got so excited I wanted to get into it. And I found a way to utilize my passion that has to do with pageantry. So I've been competing in pageants for a while, some plus size pageants, some non-plus size pageants, and I've been pretty successful at it. So what I decided to do was to use my latest pageant title and pair it with my issue of wanting to create more movement, wanting to create a space where we can get together in fellowship and talk about anything that's bothering us and focus on mental and physical health, and started the GO Project. And GO Project stands for Go Outside. So there's a way you can take the things that you are so passionate about, the things that you love to do, and pair them with the issues that are going on in your community, and create a fun and exciting project. And now we host these monthly meetups where we get together and we go hike or we go walk. And I have this special focus to get people that look like me, people that are larger or maybe different people of color, and get us all together so we can go outdoors and diversify the outdoor experience. Right? And it became something that I love to do, and that's the picture from the very first one that I had. So I had a cousin that showed up, had some coworkers that came, and every time we go out, we talk about things that are going on in our community, we talk about ourselves, and then we also become more active in the environment. So sometimes we have a cleanup initiative. So we'll go walk a trail, and we'll take bags with us, and we'll pick up trash. Or I'll entice them to come out by saying, I've got fresh fruit and fresh produce to give away. So there are ways that we are changing the conversation and being active citizens. Whatever you decide to do today, whether it's taking lessons from these different skills that we've talked about, these different leadership styles, or if it is carrying the torch of the activists and the young leaders that came before you, whatever you decide to do something. At 12 years old, when Craig Kilberger picked up this article and he read the title, Battle Child Labor Boy, 12 murdered, he was intrigued by this title because he was also 12. And he started to read the story of Iqbal Masih. And he became inspired to create change in his community. And he started a club with 11 other 12-year-olds. And that club was all around fighting the issue of child labor. And that club is what grew into the WEMovement. He started this as an after-school club in the 7th grade. And over 20 years later, it's an organization that works with over 15,000 schools, millions of young people, and it's grown. So never doubt your skills, and never doubt that what you do is important. Use your talents, your skills, your passions to create change. Thank you so much for having me this morning, and go out there and change the world. Your job to go around and meet at least 3 different people. These 3 people cannot be from your table. These cannot, because you're probably sitting with people that you know. People that you don't normally talk to. People that are not your best friends. Don't pick your homie. Can it be someone from your table?
No.
All right, when do you start?
How
many people are you meeting?
3.
What are you asking them?
Their passion,
And the issue. And the issue that they care about. When do you start?
When the music starts.
When do you start?
When the music starts.
What I need, whenever someone shares a passion or an issue, if you have issues, I need you to write that issue down. If you have the passion poster, I need you to write down their passion, okay? So Gabriella's passion is meeting new people, write that down. Oh, and you already got it. The issue is math. You've already got the marker on it.
I think the biggest issue that are affecting young people, like us, is the way we interact with one another.
Okay. Tell me more. Tell me more. What do you mean by that?
See someone new, and you just go ahead. You know, you assume how they are, how the way they act, and you don't even want to get close to them or speak to them and ask them what's their name, where are you from. You want to be friends.
Okay. All right. Did y'all get that over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The issue that's going on right now is bullying.
Bullying? Okay. Thank you. What's your passion? What's something that you really like to do or you're really good at? Or
I rap.
You rap? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait a minute. I'm already moving to your rhymes and I haven't even heard it yet. Can you give us a little, do you feel comfortable giving us a little something? Okay, what about towards the end of our workshop?
I can show you one of my songs.
Okay, towards the end, I want you to show me one of your songs. Okay? Maybe we'll be able to play it on here. And then I can do my little, I can get my, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing, Patrick. All right, let me go to this table over here. What's your name? Isaiah. Who'd you meet? Which one? There are 2 people next to Mr. Fernandez.
Anthony or Jeremy? Jeremy.
We learned a little bit about Jeremy already. So the other person is Anthony? Oh. Okay. Well, then let's do this. Tell us. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna find out Anthony some things about Anthony. I want you to tell me what's your issue. Like, what do you think is the biggest issue affecting young people?
All the siblings not sharing.
Oh, you like siblings not sharing?
Older siblings.
Older siblings not sharing.
Because most of them now are playing Fortnite and they just take up either whatever that you want to.
Oh, okay. Okay, is that happening to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so siblings not sharing. Siblings not sharing. And let me just briefly say to you all, so I have 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest, I'm the only girl, and I was a surprise baby, so we're really, really far apart in age. And I was always like, man, my brothers are, I was thinking about this the other day, I was like, I used to really feel like they never, oh yeah, Anaya, what, who did you meet? Kareem? Who's Kareem? Hey Kareem, what's Kareem passionate about?
Basketball.
Basketball. What position do you play? Point guard. So not only do I need to see somebody's rap, and not only is Anthony going to tell me his passion, his issue, but somebody's going to show me their step back before we go. I've got to see his skills. I got to see them. What else? Tell me something else about Kareem. What did he say was his issue?
Too much Fortnite.
Too much Fortnite. This is probably the first school I've ever been to where I've heard someone say too much Fortnite. Okay, even the lady that does my hair plays Fortnite. And when I get there, she's playing Fortnite. It may not necessarily be positive or good things. And then you've got to come to school. And when you get to school, sometimes you don't get to talk about that stuff, right? Or it might be hard. Because I don't know, we don't know what everyone deals with before they enter the doors in the morning, right? We don't know what could happen, right? So when we're here in school, I just want to give you all a challenge, like how someone just asked, like, hey, are you okay? Ask those questions to each other, and remember that the words that we use here, we might be the only person saying something good to someone. Just imagine if the good things that you said or the compliment you gave to somebody, what if that was the first compliment they heard in a really long time? You could change their day. So I want to just thank you for sharing that and pointing that out, that's actually really good, and that's a big issue that sometimes young people won't even talk about. So thank you for using your voice to do that. Yeah, can we summarize that? It's putting, I guess, like dealing with home and then dealing with school and then like issues at home and then having, it's really good and you are excited and you're supported at home, and then you get to school and you feel like, I don't want to be here. It's bad stuff happening every day here. Do you want to add to that, Keiko?
Is it okay that I tell her something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that you're very strong for sticking up for yourself and saying that. And I think that it takes a lot of courage to say it in front of a lot of people that you didn't even really meet. And I really respect that. And I just want you to know that even if you're home and when you're in school, that no matter where you're at, you should always have someone, just someone that you can talk to, no matter what, because holding it all in, it's just gonna make things worse. And if you even need to talk to me, you can come and talk to me. If you need to talk to an adult, if you want someone to listen, we're all here. I think that's fair enough, and I just respect that, and I thank you for saying that because I get where you're coming from.
That's good. You know what? Let's pause here. Anthony, I'm still gonna get to you. You are not off the hook, baby. You're not so let's do this. I want you to spend the next let's just spend the next 2 minutes, and with the people at your table, I want you to talk just about your day yesterday. Like, just talk about your day with the people next to you. The next 2 minutes. Talk about how your day went. I had you do that activity. What do you think my reason behind it?
I would like to share the passion.
Say it again, Isaiah.
I would like to share the passion.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So everybody can share a bigger and different passion than what we said before.
Okay. Something bigger and different. Any other? Yeah. What's your name? Kania. Okay. Like Kania said, yes. So I do want you all to work on a project. I do want you to think about your passion as something bigger, and I do want you to share about your different passions, and I really want you to really think about what you want to do, and I really want you to identify like why you want to create change. Okay. Yes, so I want you to think about the things that are important to you, because in this work that we all do, this work of giving back, of social justice, of trying to create change in our homes, in our communities, in our schools, that work is hard. It's really hard, but also it's really important to know like where you're coming from and to know what you care about and what's important to you. And just to let you know, sometimes that might change. Like how you feel this year and what you're passionate about this year might change next year, or you might stick with it. Either way, it's fine. But really start to think about, what do you care about? What do you love to do? What are your hobbies? What are your gifts? What are your skills? So over here I have the issues list is a little lopsided, but that's okay. But then I have the passions list over here on the wall as well. So before you leave today, I want to challenge you to make sure you put your passion on that paper. And again, it can be your passion, it can be something you're really good at, or maybe something you really like to do. But I want you to make sure you put it on that paper before you leave. All of you in here, I never want to hear anyone say, I don't know, there's nothing I can do. I'm not good at anything. You're all good at something. And it can be something that you think is small, like being a good helper at home. And maybe you're really a good helper to your parents. Maybe you take on a lot of chores, or you are really good at cooking, or you're really good with children, you're really good at math or English or